Hey, so I wanted to do this video on gold to silver, or, the ultimate gold to silver ratio. So what should your ratio be, i.e. 50-50 or 60-40, 70-30? But as you can see, some of the coins in the background's collapsed. So I will get into that, but I'll just twist and add on to it and do more of a pros and a cons of having more over the other and just show some of the ratios that are more popular out there. So before we get into this, I'd like to say, if you haven't done so already and like what you hear, please do go ahead and subscribe. Also, a shout out to Survival Economics. He's just done a massive pre-Brexit unboxing of $18,000 of silver, £15,000 sterling. So I'm gonna leave a link to that video. Please do go check it out. It's absolutely mammoth. It was a solo purchase, so hats off to him. And also let me know your thoughts and opinions of everything I'm going to be bringing up in this video down below in the comments, and what is your gold to silver ratio and which one do you favor more, and do you see any pros of favoring one over the other more? So let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments, guys. So as mentioned, what is the best gold to silver ratio? And I'd say it's going to be 50-50. That's what you can see here. So I believe at the moment, time of releasing this video, current ratio, gold to silver ratio, not that I buy that because you have to take premiums and everything into account, is around 85-1. So 85 ounces of silver supposedly will buy you 1 ounce of gold. So I've got 90 ounces of silver here in the background. Everything's going to be guesstimate, rough numbers, guys. I know premiums and even the coin I'm holding here taken into account. So it's all going to be rough guesstimate numbers, just rough ideas. So, as close as possible, but not too insanely wild, but not bang on precise. If you'd like to do that, let me know in the comments if you can break that down yourself. So, where was I now? So you have the number one best in anything, and best advice if you're ever going to get it, and that's going to be 50-50. So if you've got a ratio, and this is what it looks like visualized right here, the more of them don't tumble down in the background, and that's going to be, for instance, we had $2,000, £2,000, let's just say an ounce of gold is 1,000 right now. That's going to be 1,000 is going to get you the ounce of gold, and given off today, minute premiums taken into account, you get 90 ounces of silver, and that's you. This is the best, safest. It's always going to be the safest, but people ain't like that when it comes to stacking. Someone's always going to favor one more than other, and even myself, when I first got in, I came in very aggressive, taking advantage of the silver prices. A lot of dealers were recommending at the time. I still did no gold. I picked up an ounce pre-gaining heavy, and I picked up some gold along the way, but I'd done a lot of my purchasing on gold once the price, I took better advantage of the lower spot price at the time of silver than I did of gold. So, what I'm working towards now, which is constantly evolving, is somewhere around the 70-30 maybe. The raw liquid, I have a lot of high premium that will be getting liquidated as the times go by. Some I'll be holding for the long term. I've just become very attached to it. Bad thing, I know. But we'll just have to see how it goes. So, when it comes to, I would say, some of the dangers that I see stacking one over the other, I'll point out first and say gold. You would think, is there any dangers to stacking gold over silver? Well, first one I would see is, if you was going to ask somebody and say, hey, what's your ratio? Do you stack silver? Do you stack gold? If I stack pure gold, and a lot of people do say that, and I've mentioned that they don't stack silver at all, I'd say the top three downsides I can see to that. It's not even a danger, it's just more of a downside. The first one would be you could be missing out on an opportunity. And what is silver? We all know that there's an opportunity to be found there that can happen. Not 100% certain, but there is a possibility that, silver's price is suppressed and manipulated, and it comes to its own one day, and we see that infamous boom bust, and it breaks free, breaks from its bondage, and shoots for the moon. And if that's the case, and you was involved in gold and didn't want to get involved in silver, you've missed out on a fantastic investment opportunity there, or just an opportunity to make a massive gain picking up something down in the dumps, down on the floor. A lot of people believe now it's as low as silver's going to be. We're at the bottom floor right now. So only going heavily on one, i.e. gold, can really tip you out. Is that something you don't really mind about? I came to that conclusion a little while ago when I split my silver pot with my crypto pot. Whereas I believe, I would gain both ways. I've made a lot more gains in crypto, a lot more than I think I'll even see if silver came into its own now and went up to $100 an ounce. So, break down those numbers. So, the next downside I would see, and I'm going to be applying this to both of them, of going heavily even just on gold, is going to be you could lose some wealth. That's the case with anything, you know, houses, you know, stocks, a lot of things, but it happens here. Spot price, which is attached to many things. Things have set prices. Here we're dealing with spot prices. They fluctuate. Can the metals take a tanking? You know, if you put your life savings into this, is there a chance that right now the spot price of, give or take, £1,200, I think $1,500, can shoot back down to, I don't know, $700 pounds, so $900 below 1,000 either currency? It's possible, and that's a big hit. So, you know, that's another negative. I don't think you can avoid that though, but it's still definitely something that needs to be put out there. And then I would say the third danger or downside of being purely stuck in just gold would be the lack of diversity. You know, it's always good to diversify. I guess you have the option of going the opposite way and going for another silver shiny metal that could be palladium, rhodium, or, you know, what's the other one? Platinum. So you could go that way if you wanted some diversity. You don't have to go into silver, but regardless, it needs to be put out there. It's going to be a lack of diversity. So then you look at that and you think, okay, hey ho. So looking at the silver pile back down there, you have some that would come along and say, hey, look, I'm all silver. Silver is the one for me. Silver's all I need in my life. Silver, silver, silver. And we've got a 1/10 ounce here, and they may just say, this is all I have in my silver stack when it comes to gold. Given a visual comparison here again, that can be just them there. Just on 1/10, so I don't know what that'd be in terms of ratio wise. Let's just say it's 95:1. You know, so 95, and this is their 95% heavy silver, and this is their little one piece of gold they own there. So getting straight into that, then I would say, well, what is the downsides of being so heavy in just silver and not diversifying? So I'd say one of the problems with silver that I personally see is that there is a danger of the price being stuck for a very long time, and we've seen that where it is at the moment. And you could technically call what we've seen a sideways stuck. So it just pumps up and pumps down to certain numbers and just carries along, moving along with time. That's going to be the first danger. You know, I see more dangers, and I'm even referring to them as dangers when referring to silver here, whereas gold, it was more of a downside. I see more dangers of being more heavily silver than being heavily gold. You know, and that's purely because of something I'll be talking about in a second. So we've seen where it is, and not to forget taking premiums into account and just why you got into it. Everybody knows why they got into it, needs to ask themselves why they got into it. If you was of the belief that, you know, you thought it was manipulated and it would be breaking free anytime soon, and that doesn't happen, now you're on for a long ride, because you may be losing a lot. If your spot should increase from where you was, or just tank from where you was, then you're holding on to something and just stuck in the mud, and no one likes that. That is most definitely a bad problem. So the next danger of just being all gold would be just like gold, but I believe you could lose a lot more of your wealth in silver. If you pumped it all just into silver, there's a lot more of your wealth that you could lose. You know, you have a lot of people that mentioned in comments and said that, you know, putting it into silver at the time, mind you, they did purchase in a high, so that played a massive role as well. If you was purchasing now, for instance, and sold in 6 months, would you be up or down in silver? You know, who knows? It's a very interesting question. But if you purchased in a high, and the 211 highs, and now there's a lot more of your wealth that you'll lose because you're paying such a large premium already. That silver is really manipulated. I wouldn't say it's only manipulated in the paper market. I'd say it's manipulated in the physical market also with a lot of dealers. It's clearly because some of the premiums it carries on both ends, for the dealer premium, then the premium, I don't know, from the mint is, and then, you know, in the UK we have the VAT tax and everything that goes with it. It's just an absolute rip-off. So you can really, you know, lose your backside a lot more so if you was to go more heavier on silver. So another issue that there could be going heavy silver is that we may never see the higher highs. And what do I mean by that? We saw the big highs at one point, the 211 highs. You know, if it's been there once before, can it get there again? I would say yes. I definitely believe that's the case. You know, I've always thought it can, at minimum, it could touch what it previously did, but we may never see it go higher than that. So we may not see higher highs, or we may not even see highs that high again. Who knows? But it's definitely an option. You know, you have many, that draws a lot of people in with silver and gold, because that was up also. But with silver, seeing of where it was then and seeing of where it's been, being an easier price point for many to get in at, of course it draws more people in, and you have to take that in consideration. But if it never ever gets there, which is 100% a possibility, everything is possible. You know, nothing's impossible. It's something you need to take into account, you know, whether you like it or not. And that's a problem, because once again, when you're losing a lot more, depending on how much you put in on silver than gold, premium wise, and all the other, you know, bells and whistles that go with it, that's going to be a massive issue. And then of course it's going to be lack of diversity, just like with gold. So it's always best to diversify with everything and anything, but some people just believe silver, silver, silver. So now getting into what I would say are going to be more of the plus points, you know. Well, I'll give both of their one major plus point to them. And with gold, it's going to be, it's the ultimate form of currency and storage of wealth. You know, ultimately, and that's recognized worldwide by banks, nations, and even your average Joe Blow on the road. And that's going to be, that is the ultimate form of currency and the ultimate storage of wealth, depending on who you ask there. So that's going to be the number one plus side to gold. So putting your money there, you're not going to have to worry. I think silver has lost that title because it's just not seen as that. It's now being labeled as an industrial metal, whether you like it or not. It just is. You know, we know people that put their money into silver know that it is a storage of wealth, but you know, it not being seen as that could also present a problem when it comes time to liquidate. Who knows? But I doubt you're going to have that problem with this metal here, and this is why it's a lot smoother and easier to liquidate for me, from what I've experienced, a normal standard government gold bullion coin than it is, for instance, anything on the silver level. It's always easier to liquidate the gold. It's hassle-free, in, out, no problems. Now, the ultimate plus for silver, I would say, is that it's grossly underpriced. That's what's going to get a lot of people in. If silver costed, I don't know, give or take $60 right now, you'd find a situation where the metals market, I believe, is coming a lot like the crypto market. You know, very pump and dumpy with some of the collector coins, and a lot of people getting back to the basics now, i.e. Bitcoin or Litecoin or Ethereum, when they're getting back to standard weight. And, you know, it's grossly underpriced depending on who you ask. If it was $60, for instance, would people still want to come in, believing that it could shoot higher? Who knows? But right now, at the price it's at, a lot of people see that opportunity. It's one of the first things you learn here, regardless of who's putting it out there. Silver is grossly underpriced. You know, if the Hunt brothers could have told you that, you know, give or take, whether they was right or wrong, and some say, oh, Buffett was also involved in that. So they also believe that if that was true. So, you know, it's something that's had power players in, and who knows, maybe you'll get a lot further. We will get a lot further than they did in times to tell, but it's grossly underpriced. I was saying overpriced the whole time. So there's an opportunity there when you see something like that. So that's going to be the number one pluses for the both of them. But ultimately, I would say a ratio to just put out there is going to be 50-50. But if you favor one over the other, mine's 70-30, could change to 80-20 tomorrow. It all depends on how, you know, easy it is for me to acquire more ounces, whether my cryptocurrencies come in and pay anytime soon, and we'll have to see where it goes from there. But let me know what your ratio is. I'm going to wrap this one up, guys, and you know what you think. Is there any dangers of stacking one or the other? Do you absolutely avoid the other? You believe when the time comes it's going to be very easy to liquidate silver to buy gold? You know, people have been leaving in the comments lately that they've done what I said to do, you know, and certain pumps give it a dry run, you know, give your dealer a call and see how easy it is and to liquidate and the likes of. And some people have found interesting things happening. So if you can only imagine, you know, silver shoots up in price now, I think it will be very liquid if dealers can sell as fast as they can buy. From what I understand, and this is a major important question to always ask your LCS whenever things are popping off, like, hey, what is the ratio? Are you selling more or are you buying more? Do you have more people coming in to buy, or do you have more people coming in to sell? Because if it's more people coming in to sell, at some point the dealer's going to have to start dragging their feet and getting more picky, offering lower prices. So take that into account. You know, a lot of us want to liquidate when it's a massive spike. So these are all things to take into account, but please do let me know your thoughts and opinions down below on what you think the perfect gold to silver ratio is and the pros and cons of owning both. So go ahead and leave your thoughts down below in the comments, guys. Please do go ahead and subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I'll catch you guys on the rebound.